Let's talk about impact controls. An impact is a high force or shock delivered over a short period of time. Visual impact holds two functions: one, demand attention, and two, to influence and affect viewer action. Impact controls consist of size, color, value, contrast, saturation, and dimension. These are design tools that allow you to adjust the strength and impact of each element within your design. More than one large element of the same size will fight for viewer attention, so avoid this whenever possible. As a general rule, never split your design in half with two equal fighting parts. Size. Size is the area or space possessed by a design element. The size of any element becomes dominant or submissive due to the color value assigned to it. Remember the Papa, Mama, Baby rule for sizing elements in your design. Use one big element, one or two medium-sized elements, and you can use multiple smaller objects in your design. Color. Color is light. Light is energy that travels in waves derived from a light source such as the sun. The color we see is bent or refracted light, waves split from the spectrum by a prism that separates white light into a specific color or hue. Each color has its own wavelength. An apple may absorb all the wavelengths but red. We do not see the wavelengths that are not absorbed. Dimension. Physical or spatial dimension can be real, as in three-dimensional, or an optical illusion, as in two-dimensional. Dimension may also be non-literal, adding interest or dramatic effect to the work. Dimension adds depth to our visual perception. Elements that add non-literal dimension, creating interest within design. That's anything unusual, a unique angle of view, a unique perspective, a unique or unusual lighting, startling color, startling words, tight cropping, controversial subject matter, a pairing of elements with incongruence, or celebrities. Size. An object's size is always perceived in relation to human scale. We relate to and understand objects from the perspective of human utilization. Appropriateness in size is always determined by placement, function, and format. Size does not always equate to visual dominance. Visual impact. A client's commitment to make an element bolder or larger generally translates to a request for greater impact. Bigger is not always better in the impact arena. The tiny red dot on a large black background dominates the viewer visual attention, although it is very small. Make it pop. Use color to help define the priority of your communication. Dark colors recede, light colors come forward, and neutrals blend in and fade into the background. Reds are aggressive, blues are passive. Pastels are feminine, and primary colors are masculine. Size and impact controls. Size is the area or space possessed by a design element. The size of any element becomes dominant or submissive due to its size, color value assigned to it, and its placement. Cropping. Loose cropping greatly weakens the dramatic power of an image. Tight cropping in on the business end of any object is almost always the best solution. Simplify the image by cropping in tight enough to show just enough of the key parts as to avoid confusion. If it doesn't add to the sale or message, it has no business existing within your design. Your ability to crop an image is your ability to direct and control the viewer's attention and what they see. Crop in tight and bleed elements off the page to maximize impact and intensify the composition. If you've cropped in all that you can and there's still an element bothering you that does not add to the message or sale, crop it out. How to create visual thunder. Maximize the image. Crop in tight. Select an unusual angle. Keep it simple. Be dramatic. Make the primary message the hero. Size may also be utilized to establish consistency, establish contrast between elements, attract attention, create eye flow, and indicate dominance. Maximize impact. The main element of your design will usually be 50% to 80% of your available design space. Crop in tight, then evaluate and attempt to crop in tighter wherever possible to maximize the impact of your design. To understand the value that impact has on design, look at the size of the faces in relation to the image here. At left, the man's face utilizes 100% of the available image area. At right, adding just 2 other people to the image, the man's face now only utilizes 1/6 of the page, or 82% less impact. The faces at right, when we add 3 people, are even smaller. So this is a rule of diminishing impact. An increase in the design elements equals a proportionate decrease in design impact. 1 element delivers 100% of the visual impact. 2 elements split the impact, 50% each. 3 elements, you only have a 33% visual impact. And 4 elements, a 25% visual impact. Impact is volume control. To turn up the volume or impact, simply crop in tighter on the focal point of your image or communication. Limited elements equals maximum impact. Each element added to your design dramatically reduces the impact of your design by 1. Reducing the power of your key element. 2. Reducing the available real estate afforded to the focal point of the design. And 3. It adds to the busyness and clutter of your design. Let's talk about the dominance hierarchy relationship. What your eye sees first in a design is the dominant design element and your primary message. The hierarchy of dominance in a design conveys the priority of your communication. Your job as a designer is to control the priority of message that you communicate to the viewer by creating visual eye flow across your design and by allocating the appropriate amount of impact to each element in your design. The Papa, Mama, Baby principle. The Papa is dominant, the Mama is subdominant, and the Baby is subordinate. Dominance relates to the emphasis or visual weight in a composition. You accomplish this by directing size, impact, cropping, perspective, and eye flow. Dominance within a design may occur by means of color, contrast, value, or other impact controls, but it is commonly thought of as occurring by size relationship to the other design elements. Papa, Mama, Baby. Stick to the Papa, Mama, Baby rule to define the size relationships to create a foolproof dominant hierarchy of navigation within a design. One big, one medium, and multiple smaller elements will always work well together. Avoid using multiple big or medium elements together as they will fight for attention. So the dominant element. This is the primary dominant element of the page. Use only one of these elements per design. This element is clearly the hero of your design. 2. A subdominant element, or the Mama element. This element is relegated to the second degree of dominance. Use only 1 or 2 of these elements per design. This element will still call attention to itself, but with less impact than the dominant element. 3. The subordinate element, or the Baby element. This element has the least impact or dominance in the chain of hierarchy. You can use 1 or many of these elements within your design. These elements usually fall farthest back in size, contrast, and importance. Hierarchy. Great design provides a clear starting point, guiding the viewer through a defined visual path built into the design. This is only achieved through clear hierarchy of elements planned out as you design. A violator calls the customer's attention by violating the package. Highlighting is utilized to shout an alarm or call attention to a specific area of the design. It may be done using color, font, type weight, an anomaly, inversing, blinking, underlying, white space, or other means to separate a specific area of attention from the rest of the design. The overuse of highlights in any one design negates the power of the technique. In highlighting, always start with size, color, and type weight. Rules are great tools with which to separate design elements. Type reversed out of boxes is a good universal solution. Properly used, white space is an excellent way to highlight even the smallest element. In general, avoid techniques such as blinking elements that are irritating when used in pop-up windows, but better used as a warning device for pilots of depleting fuel levels or things like that. Never use an underline when bold or type italic solution is available. Use color sparingly and within a constrained color palette. In creating Disney World, Walt Disney demanded that Cinderella's castle be visible from any point within the park. This was to act as a navigational beacon, providing a focal point for the park and adding a sense of orientation, familiarity, and security to guests. Camouflage is a design solution requiring the lack of a focal point. The iPod presents the user with a simplistic circle of control as a focal point. Design lacking a key focal point allows the viewer to visually drift aimlessly without guidance or guidelines. Casinos are purposely built, lacking a focal point, intentionally to retain customers within a maze of gambling options.